You girls is sheep. You girls is agents. You girls aborted your mission. You girls were sitting here to wake them, and you done went to sleep with them.
You know, being a part of the LGBTQ community, it's transgender, so TS Madison would be considered a transgender female. You can't say he, bitch. You know, that's not, you can't
He's
say
a man.
he.
It's a man. She have a big dick between her legs. I don't respect her. She's a man. Joanna man. Go. I got some care credit for you to get a pussy under your legs. If you want to look like a woman.
But you can't say that. Okay, wait. You can't say that, though.
I don't respect her.
No.
I don't respect her, period. I don't.
When I look around on the internet and I see things where, you know, people talk about me, you know, 60% say good things, 40% say awful things or whatever.
But we were talking this morning and, you know, TS Madison, aka the big dick bitch, came up. And when she started talking about her, you know, she was talking about her positively, you know, like, oh, I love her, I respect her because she speaks her mind, and, you know, so it...
Anyway, I was looking at a video out there. There was a girl, her name was Tila Love. It was a Tila Love channel, and she had made a video, and she was saying that there was a girl named Milan that was, you know, talking about me and that she looked up to me and stuff like that or whatever, you know. And I have a habit of saying that I'm not a part of the community. I don't give a fuck about the community. I have a habit of saying that because the black LGBT community has really, you know, given me a lot of slack over the way that I am and my boisterous attitude and you know, the crazy shit that I do.
The reason why I made this video is because I think that, and hopefully, you know, T.S. Madison will see this video, and I want her to realize, you know, and this is, I'm saying this out of love, you know, I know you said, you know, F the community, you know, and I'm a transgender woman, transsexual, because I want to have bottom surgery. I've already had the first one, so I consider myself transsexual. But, you know, I want to say this to T.S. Madison, you know, that, and I will say it to her face if I ever got a chance to see her, that there are a lot of girls in this trans world, whether you want them to or not, that look up to you. You know, you out there, you know what I'm saying, you are a role model, real model, whether you want to be it or not. You do not just represent, you know, your organization, your company, but you represent all those girls who look up to you.
We have a serious problem with Big Dick Bitch, and Big Dick Bitch being an adult star, an adult entertainer, and stuff like that. And then they praise another girl. Yeah, she's on TV, but they cast her as a transsexual credit card thief. Where have we broken? Where has the bridge been broken? Where has the barrier been broken? They're still casting her in prison as a credit card fraud person. Where was the groundbreaking? Because she made it to a television series? That is groundbreaking. That is great that we are portrayed in the media. But the media portrays us how they see us. The media portrays us how they think that we are. Like I've said before, what, it's about to cut off?
You got 6 minutes of video.
We are never, ever going to win the acceptance of a society that is already one-sided on us. And we're never going to win each other. We're never going to win acceptance of other people because we can't accept each other.
What's up, YouTube land and the land all
what's going on
across the land? This is your girl, TS Madison, aka BKA, the big dick motherfucking bitch. And I am coming to you live from my studio because I have just shot a magnificent video with my homegirl, Kinky Kennedy, XXX.com.
hello everyone.
Chiggle, chiggle, chiggle. Chiggle, chiggle, chiggle. just to live. In the meantime, make that ass clap.
D. It's a street. So what you valet parking? Phaedra. I want to know Phaedra. Phaedra. Pause.
The better question is, was she fucking serious?
Was she?
Was she serious?
You actually had valet people parking cars
In a residential area.
Phaedra, it's one thing to be grand, but oh my God, it's just like limitations to you being a fucking idiot. Like, Phaedra, come on. You know what I'm saying? Phaedra, you know you may not even be this way, really, but Phaedra, come on. Phaedra.
I speak out in situations when I feel like it could damage a young girl's future, like mine was damaged for swallowing some of the bullshit that I swallowed from my elders. My trans mama taught me how to sell my ass on the corner. I ended up with a crack addiction and HIV positive. Okay, so I get very, very, very upset and bothered when I see girls leading girls down the wrong path.
Excuse me, out of the way. We got a diva coming through. I need all basic bitches to the back. Move. How could you forget? I'm a multi-million views, bitch.
Over 10 million, honey.
Rockin' Remy down my back. And you know I never break a sweat. No, I never break a sweat. You know this space so big.
When I see girls misinforming girls and painting a story that is all glitz and glamour without having the harsh realities. I get very upset when I see girls casting down girls who have STDs. I get very upset when I see girls judging girls who don't have what they have materially, because you could have all of the money in the world and not have no motherfucking peace of mind. Money can't buy you love, and it can't buy you peace of mind. Because that was tired, what was said in that video about Samantha James. I love TS Madison to death, but I personally, this is my opinion, I think that she was wrong for counting her money in front of the camera when we got girls dropping like flies around here because niggas is killing them. You want to count your money in front of the camera, then you have these girls living in hotel rooms trying to do the same thing you doing, and they don't have the resources that you have. They trying to be like TS Madison. It does not matter if the chateau is armed. It does not matter how many Band of Merry Men you have in your collection. You can still be touched. They killing presidents and they killing national advocates. They killing all type of people is being touched. They could touch you. So you shouldn't be promoting that. You think that because you have a degree or because you have this, and this, that makes you better. Honey, that shit is an illusion. When I was younger, they booted me out of this community. When I first started my transition, the heterosexual, the majority, the people who looked normal, and the gay people and the lesbians was included in that shit, because they could pass for being regular people. When I started my transition, them motherfuckers booted me out, and I've been fighting to try to get back in. Something should have told me that something was wrong with the community when they booted me out in the first motherfucking place. And here I am fighting, trying to get back in this bitch. Fighting to try to have what they have. I understand why people are like that. It's the same thing that happened to black folks when we went through slavery. When they let us out of slavery, we wanted what the white folks had. We wanted to prove that we were just as good as them. So we worked harder than them. We went to school. We did this. We did whatever. We bought land. We bought houses. We bought, we gathered things. We got things together so that we could say, hey, I'm just as good as y'all. I'm just like y'all. But somewhere along the line, a lot of you motherfuckers lose your soul. I don't want to belong to any more communities where you need a VIP card to get in.
Because
you know,
a lot of people get offended by these roast and gags.
And it's only entertainment.
You know, this is a roast, a celebrity roast and gag show. It's crude comedy, and you motherfuckers need to get with the program. But since I feel like I heard a lot of feelings,
you giving gifts, right?
I'm gonna give gifts just to let them know that we don't mean no harm. We're just entertaining the people.
Listen, bitch, don't get mad at nobody that you don't know personally. We don't know you personally, so don't take none of this shit personal. Ladies and gentlemen, next up on the gift of gags is Wendy Wendell Bartholomew Orenthal Rufus Clyde Williams.
It's a Clyde.
If you didn't get that name, every time we add that bitch to the docket, there's always an addition to her name. Wendy.
Give it to me, sis.
Wendell Orenthal Bartholomew Clyde Rufus.
Hi, I am Kineen Mafa, also known as Tila Love and Telepathy, but more recently I have been using the name Kineen Mafa, which means King, Queen, Mother, Father, as I embrace my wholeness. Over the past few years, I have been doing a lot of self-healing work, a lot of growing internally so that I could be a better guide to my community, because I don't believe in being a leader, because being a leader means that in many cases you have it all figured out, and I don't want to pretend that I have it. That's why, you know, when I build relationships with people in the community now, I've moved away from that mother-daughter dynamic. I don't do the mother-daughter dynamic thing anymore. I do the sister, even though I still feel a mother-daughter bond. I look at myself as a sister so that I understand that I'm not above you. I am still the same as you. When we use words like lead or follow, that implies that someone else is there. It is always a plural situation, but it implies that someone is ahead and someone is behind. And so when I call you my sister or when I call you my brother, it's saying that I don't see myself as ahead of you or behind you, but rather I see myself guiding you. Now, I have had several daughters in the past, and I love my daughters, and all of them are doing well. But my daughters are also my sisters. Pernisha is my sister. Milan is my sister. Bonnie is my sister. You know, though we've had a mother-daughter relationship. And because of what I've instilled into their lives and what they've instilled into mine, we are all better from it. We all taught each other, and we all healed each other, and we all loved on each other. And one of the things that I've tried to instill in them is that your worth is not determined by the things that you possess, but by what you carry inside of you. So always keep track of your universe. The reason why I am speaking out now is because in a lot of ways it's unavoidable to have these types of conversations. Where I am in my journey, I'm trying to overcome this seeing myself as a black person and being able to see myself as a melanated person. Because as a black person, you realize that that's just a bullseye on your head. It's a reminder that you are the descendants of slaves. And a lot of us, we navigate from that space. We don't think of ourselves beyond slavery. We don't want to have any ties to our indigenous roots or our African ancestry. We don't want any ties to that. The only thing that we want ties to is what's taking place here. And a lot of what's taking place here, unfortunately, is people selling out. We were having a conversation the other day about how the slaves got here, and they were saying that the strongest slaves didn't even make it here because they killed themselves, because they knew that they were more than flesh. They knew that they were spirit, so they didn't even get on the boat. They were ready to go see their ancestors. They were not pressed at all. They did not believe in that white God, that white Jesus. They knew they wasn't going to no hell if they killed themselves, so they killed themselves. So the ones that got over here They went through, they endured, they were the weakest. But it's funny how something that was meant for your evil can turn out to be for your good. We're in a season of our lives where we were once the weakest because our ancestors didn't believe enough in spirit to know that they could have transcended this realm and been back with their ancestors. So they came over here in the belly of the beast. They came over here into hell for 400 years. They endured, and we became mixed with all of the nations of the world. That's why America is called the melting pot, which is why I have the American colors in my face, because this is the day of reckoning mug. What I want us to understand is that though our ancestors may have been some of the weakest, they were still mixed with some of the strongest blood. And now that blood is even stronger, having been mixed with all of these different nationalities and cultures and all of these different people moving through our DNA. There's so much power moving through us right now. And we have the ability and the capacity to transcend all of our situations, all of our obstacles, if we only believe. In this video, I want it to be understood that I'm not targeting TS Madison. I am not picking with TS Madison. Though I don't agree with a lot of the things that she does, I know that she's merely a symptom of the problem. Why TS Madison has chosen to play into this narrative that supports melanated people constantly using buffoonery and what they're calling comedic tactics in order to garner wealth, clout, relevancy, and influence, is because it is supported by mainstream society. So many people support that. So it's not her fault entirely. Maybe I wish she could be stronger, but I am not T.S. Madison and T.S. Madison is not me. So maybe I wish she could be a stronger person. Maybe I wish she didn't feel the need to succumb. But regardless, it is what it is. She has. But it is a symptom of a greater problem. It is a symptom of the problem that we as a people support each other when we are tearing each other down. We support each other when we support each other most when we are tearing each other down. And that's something that needs to be acknowledged. We support each other when we are speaking good words with no actions behind them. And that's what Transcending Blackness is going to be about. T.S. Madison is the first installment. Her story is the first installment to a series of episodes in which I will be delving into this black experience as I transcend blackness. Because in 2018, I am moving away from the word black, and I want to see myself as melanated. Because when I can see myself as melanated, I can see myself not as an outsider, but as connected to everything, because melanin exists in everything. In some things, there's more melanin. Some things have more melanin than others, but everything has melanin. So I want to see myself as a melanated being, and that will help me to see myself as connected to everything, so that I could stop being in conflict with everything, just seeing myself as a slave. I'm trying to free myself from that mentality. So the reason why I chose to use T.S. Madison's story first is because she is the one in which I feel, out of all of the people that I'm going to discuss, that I felt I'm most connected with at one time. Both of us are melanated. Both of us are trans. Both of us are from the Gulf of the South. Both of us have been involved in sex work. Both of us work, well, I mean, she's still Christian. My beliefs are a little bit different now. I believe I pray more to my ancestors. I commune more with my ancestors. I believe that, you know, if Jesus existed, he was definitely an ancestor, so I still acknowledge him in my prayers also. a little bit about me. I did grow up I did grow up in the South, grew up reading the Bible, but I moved away from all of that post-op after I had my surgery. Now I see that as a valued part of my history. Just like I will never deny being trans, I will never deny being a descendant of slaves, I will never deny, you know, being a Christian or believing in Jesus. One of my emails is still for love of Christ. So I will always have that connection to the Christian faith, because the Christian faith is, just like so many other things, has taught me the evils and the ignorance and the maliciousness that exist in this reality. I have been living with what I like to call the nothingness, which is HIV, for 13 years. A lot of people will want to point that out, I'm sure, after seeing this video. Oh, she's sick, she dying, or oh, you know, her teeth is crooked. Oh, she need to get her teeth straightened out in her mouth, or oh, she just mad because she ain't got no money and she in TS Madison, and blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm sure people will say stuff like that, but anyone who sincerely knows me, will know that that is not my intentions. My intentions is to make sure that, because the way she presents it and the way she packages it, it looks very sweet, you know, and a lot of us, when we're in pain, we know how to mask pain. You know, a lot of us have been taught by our ancestors to mask our pain well. But when you're an observer of people and you pay attention to people, you know when they're masking. And I believe that she's masking some pain. I believe that she's masking some trauma. As she has become more successful, her waistline has increased. While I was going to Delgado University, well, college or whatever you want to call it, it was a community college, I packed on 50 pounds, and I was learning about white people, for lack of a better word, and I was in their world. I was engaging with more white people, you know, than I normally engage with, and I was engaging with more melanated people who were accepting this reality as it is. And it was very difficult for me. It was very difficult for me to stay connected to the things that were going on at a grassroots level in my community. It was very difficult for me to care and also pursue what I was pursuing at that school. So I know what it's like when you're in a place where you're trying to pursue what you believe is gonna make you more than what you were, or make you have what we've named financial freedoms. I think it's all about choice. I don't have financial freedom, as other people would say. I can't just jump on a plane and fly here. I can't jump in my car and go there. But I am still in amazing health, considering my history. I still feel beautiful inside and outside. If I don't want to do something that day, I don't have to do it. If I don't make it, I just don't make it. Some days my belly might growl, but that's okay, because I eat to live. I don't live to eat. And this is no shade or no insult to people who do cope through eating, because we all have our ways in which we cope. We all have our ways in which we deal with the strains and the pressures of life. But one of the things that I do know is that drugs are not the only thing that is affecting how we think in this reality. The food does, because the food is being poisoned with all type of chemicals and toxins and GMOs. The water is not even clear and clean these days. So everything that we engage in, or everything that we involve in, it is connected, and it can affect us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And some of the things that she's doing, I think, there are ways for her to get past all that she's done, all that she's sacrificed. Recently, we had a disagreement, and she didn't say my name, but I knew she was talking about me in the video. She said, she made a comment about food stamps and telling me to stop depending on the government and to stop living off the government. First of all, my ancestors built this nation. I don't feel guilty about getting no food stamps. I'm waiting on my first check now. And if anybody else has some sense, if any other melanated people had some sense, they would be trying to get what they supposed to get from the government. The check is not enough. The food stamps is not enough. My ancestors, the DNA I have going through my body, the trauma, the things that I'm experiencing, because I'm aware and I'm conscious of what my family endured and what my ancestors endured. One of my great uncles was tarred and feathered and burned at the stake because he looked at a white woman. One of my aunties almost risked her life to go and use a white bathroom because the black bathrooms were so unsanitary that she couldn't even use the bathroom, the bathrooms in Mississippi without throwing up. And you think I'm gonna feel guilty because I'm getting food stamps? You think I'm gonna feel guilty because I'm getting a first check? And I've worked jobs in this nation, and I've seen how they treat us. Coming in with all of this experience that's helped them to get millions and millions of dollars in grants. I've worked at state level jobs. I've worked for community nonprofit organizations. I've done activism in this community for 10 years strong. Google me. I've left the country and gone over to Africa to see the influence, the toxic influence that this nation is spreading throughout the world. We are losing our souls for material things that will mean nothing after these bodies expire. And many of us are paying for death in the things that we eat, the people we keep company with. We're getting no fruits and vegetables in the physical realm, and the people that we're hanging around are not spiritual fruit or vegetables or water. The people that we're hanging around is fast food, and many of them are just around us because they're eating off of us. And what they're eating off of us is toxic because the only thing that we're eating is toxicity. So when I speak out today, I speak out as someone who looked up to her, who admired her, who made a connection with her. And I am trying to process, how do I remain a part of this community, celebrate this community, when I am constantly being reminded of something that I am trying to grow past, something that I am trying to transcend, something that I am trying to gain the vision to see beyond. Over the next few coming weeks, I will be taking different people from the Black experience, from the melanated experience, and I will be sharing my views and my connection to them. It's going to be some powerful beings in this dimension, some influential beings in this dimension, and I'm going to be, telling the stories of how I got sucked in, how I believed it, how I bought in, how I wanted to be a part, how they were my role models. And so I started it off with Maddie, because Maddie is probably the most popular trans person who has had a major influence on my life. Like, there's a lot of trans women who've influenced my life, but they don't have the popularity of Maddie. I really wasn't a big fan of Laverne Cox. I wasn't really a big fan of Janet Mock, although me and Janet Mock did email each other backwards and forwards before she got amnesia. But there was never a huge connection between me and any other. Like, I never really like looked up to them. Like, I shared TS Madison's videos repeatedly. I repped her on YouTube. I sent her energy. I sent her strength. I sent her encouragement. And to see her become what she became, because little did I know, well, I mean, I should have always known it. I think she kind of said it, you know, that money was her priority. But, you know, I guess because I was still wrapped up in the Christian faith, I just believed between her being trans, you know, I've always felt like trans people were artists. Not all trans people are artists. There's a difference between artists and entertainers. Entertainers regurgitate what is already out there and they add a little bit to it. So entertainment is the regurgitation of what's already out there, what's already being done in mainstream, and just to put a little spin on it. And that's basically what's going on with her. She is mimicking what's already out there and putting her own spin on it. Artists, they create, and sometimes they're so far ahead of their time that the stuff that they put out is used for entertainment in the future. So people will probably be mimicking me after I'm gone, and then it will be considered entertainment. Now, I can entertain, but people, you know that this is not, I'm not just an entertainer, I'm an artist. So I move in my own lane, in my own stratosphere. And I'm a part of a group of artists now. And we're working to create a space in which male people, male-born beings, male-bodied beings, and female-bodied beings can celebrate their femininity, whether it is their begin, their end, or their middle. So this is the journey. This is what's going on. I really felt like this video was important to do. I already feel like I'm receiving closure from it. In this situation, I know that it's not the last time that someone will share I know that it's not the last time that one of my friends will share a TS Madison video. So I know it's not the last time that I'm going to hear her name or see her face in this reality. So if I have to deal with her, you know, if I have to hear her because we belong to the same community, even though we don't run in the same circle, and she has this attitude like she never knew who I was, but y'all saw the receipts. If I have to deal with her, I want to be clear about my standpoint and how I feel. I'm concerned. We're living in dangerous times. The President of the United States is like none we've never had before. The President of the United States is like none we've ever had before. And these are critical times. Hurricanes are ravaging places and leaving people without homes, living in the street. It's really an unnerving, disenchanting time in history. And I am a firm believer in energy, and I believe that what we put into the atmosphere is what will manifest. And I feel like while many of us are in pursuit of material things, we are losing the spiritual things. And some of our young are not even getting a chance to connect with spirit, to develop spirit. Some of us have spirit and walk away from it, but some of us are being impacted at such an early age by malice and negativity, we're not even getting the opportunity to connect with spirit. And so I want to make sure that I'm being visible and I'm putting a message out that brings balance to that. And I know it's not going to always be popular. I know it's not going to always be celebrated. I know that it's not going to always be accepted. But that still does not mean that it does not have to be done. Someone painted a picture of me a couple of years ago. Well, they designed a picture of me a couple of years ago. And it was of a melanated woman, and they used my face. And she had a machete in her hand with a cougar behind her. And I like that image so much because of that machete. That machete symbolizes me clearing a path that other people have never went down before. Moving ahead. Although sometimes I move behind because I've got to make sure that the weakest of cubs are safe from snakes. But I like the machete because I could go before or behind. You know, that's what a guide does. They go wherever they need to be in order to get optimum results. And that's what I do. And so that's who I am on this journey. So it may not make sense to you, my being, who I am, because I'm not in pursuit of the same things that the majority are. But just know, I'm necessary. And I may not be relevant to you, but in the greater picture, in the bigger picture, the way the universe sees things, I'm far more relevant than you could ever imagine. So with that being said, I'm going to close. I love you all. Benai Pepinai Handararosa, which is a word that was created from the spirit, which means that the light shines in us and together we shall win. Lelim Lele, which means I am whole. And I want you to know that I am working my best to manifest a new reality for the youth that are coming. And all we have to do is believe. A reality that is free of the maliciousness that we cultivate, this crabs in a barrel mentality that we cultivate, all in a pursuit to have the things that our oppressors have. I'm working for a day when we know who we are, whether the fridge is full or empty, whether the car is in the shop or we never had one, whether we have a roof over our heads or not. I'm working to make sure that we know who we are so that we can sow the seeds that will bless all of us and show us and teach us that the greatest work we could do is love ourselves from the inside out, and everything else will take care of itself. Later, transcending blackness and speaking with intentional flow. I am Kineen Mafa.